listening to the Medic Materials Podcast, hosted by Mike Turek, Emily Yates, Kelsey Coons, and Gerard Cuomo. Each month, we discuss EMS news, medical science, and review actual EMS calls, bringing many educational opportunities to the listener. Portions of the calls have been altered to protect the privacy and identity of all involved.
Hello and welcome everyone back to the Medic Materials Podcast. So for the first time ever, I am all by myself. Not really though. Gerard's not here. Kelsey's not here. Emily's not here. The Maha Butchie's not here. And the Phil Foundation isn't here. But I am here with two lovely people, Jessica and Brooke from Operation at Ease. Ladies, say hi. I know you got to unmute, then say hi. It's all good.
Oh, I did it. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hi, thanks for having me.
It is solely our pleasure. Thank you again for joining us so late. People are joining the stream here as we're getting going. A little bit late, but you know, it is what it is.
Better late than never.
Exactly. Lots of drama happened tonight. Lots of changes. There was supposed to be, like I said, like 6 or 7 of us. The massive surprise that I alluded to earlier in the week on Discord was shafted last night. Gerard was supposed to be right here next to me in studio, but that didn't happen. So it is what it is. So good thing I'm Polish and I can talk a lot. So if you guys can follow, we're good. So, Jess, you and I were talking before the stream started about what we were going to be talking about. And I think introductions are needed first because, you know, Operation at Ease is an organization that we fell in love with here on the show. I think it was 2020. Pretty sure it was our 16th episode. Now we're on 64. That we had Joni Bonilla on, your guys' creator founder, and she was amazing. Talked to us about everything that you guys were doing at that point in time. But that was 2020. Like that was just at the start of COVID, more or less. And things have changed. So for those that didn't listen all the way back down to 2020. What is Operation at Ease and what do you guys kind of do?
Great question. So Operation at Ease was started in 2015 by Joni, and it came out of need. So Joni is a dog trainer for over 20 years now, and one of her dear friends, a veteran who was experiencing post-traumatic stress, was in need of a service dog. And in order to get a service dog, for most organizations, it's usually minimum 3 years of a waiting period. And then on top of that, it's several $1,000s, and it could be tens of thousands of dollars. So Joni, as a dog trainer, said, let me work with you. And that is how Operation at Ease started. So she just started with one person and eventually expand to a couple more in front of her yard, as I understand it, in front of her house. And then realized that there was such a deficit for this in the community for affordable service dogs. And the thing that makes Operation at Ease really special and really unique from a lot of other organizations out there is the fact that all of our service dogs come from animal shelters. So we call it a shelter to service dog program. We choose service dogs specifically for the individual based on what their needs are. We specialize in post-traumatic stress and mobility assistance. And then find that dog for the individual, tailor the training to that person and their needs, and the dog goes home with the veteran or first responder from day one. So instead of waiting for this dog to be trained that handler is actually going right home with the dog through all of the ups and downs of having a brand new dog. And we're there for them through that process. And we provide a free guided training program. So, meaning they don't pay for that training. If they have any financial difficulties, we're there to support them with through that as well. So, we're located in Rotterdam, right on Central Ave in Rotterdam off of Hamburger Street. We have a small building, but an awesome staff. And we're really wanting to get the word out there because the more people that know about us, the more of our veterans and first responders that we can help out with.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it came to me 2-3 years ago. I was literally just scrolling through my phone, and there was an article that popped up on Google, like one of the local articles for, a ex-fireman that had gotten a dog. And I was like, what is this? And I read the article, and I was like, this is literally 35 minutes from my house. Why have I never heard about this? And that's, that was the time when I reached out to Joni and was like, you need to come on and talk to us. And she, she went through the how and why she started. So make sure, I did not link that episode, but if you go to where, you can listen to Medic Materials, you can find that episode. It's literally labeled Operation at Ease with Joni Bonilla. It was fantastic. You can even hear dogs barking in the background, if I remember. But
that's the true sign of a dog trainer.
that is correct. And, it seems like, like you say, it was at a need and, this like humble beginning, and you guys have grown it to where you guys are helping how many, providers or people per year now?
That's a great question.
She's like,
People always
know.
ask us, and honestly, we need to track the numbers because for us, it's not about the numbers, and the individuals that we work with, it's because it's a tailored program to them. They're not on a set path. Like it's not like, okay, you've done this for 7 months and now boom, you're done. Like, okay, if you need more assistance with this or that, we're gonna help you with that. And so gosh, I mean, right now I think we probably have, I would say 10 to 15 handler teams that we're working with right now. But the cool thing about our program is it's basically a 3-phase program, and it's not a set amount of time. But the first thing that our teams do when they get their dog is they start with basic obedience, and some light task work. So that's what makes a service dog a service dog, is they are trained to do some sort of task for their handler. So they start at our base, Operation at Ease in Rotterdam. And then from there, they take what's called the American Kennel Club's Canine Good Citizen Test. So that's kind of phase 1. Phase 2, we then bring them out to places like Lowe's or Home Depot. Shout out to Home Depot. They're an awesome supporter of us. And we do another test there. And then their final phase is public access training. That's where they go to the airport, grocery shopping. Yes, we actually grocery shop with our teams to make sure that the dogs are going to know how to handle any situation, including going to like a fire department or those types of emergencies.
Right. And I remember one of the things that Joni had talked about, because this all blew our minds, because, you don't think about it unless it's something in your life. She was talking about how you guys do the on-location training for the provider and the dog, and she brought up that you take them to, ShopRite or, Hannaford's or whatever. And we were like, why? Like, like a dog could go through the food store, and she's like, it's not always for the dog. Like, you have to think some of these vets can't actually physically walk through a food store because of whatever type of trauma they had. And this is now helping them cope with their dog to that environment. Again, not something that we take for granted, not having that in our lives, but, a miraculous thing that you guys do to be able to help the dog and the trainee, I guess, or, the person with the dog.
Our handler, our teams.
Yeah, kudos to you guys. It's pretty awesome. So, I'm gonna transition over to Brooke here because I think you're getting bored sitting and listening to Jess and I talk.
No.
But you have a very interesting new position at Operation at Ease, being that I'll just let you. There's a new program that you guys started recently. Who are you? What do you do? And what is your program?
All right. Well, I'm Brooke, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I've been in the field professionally over 12 years, but in August of last year, Joni, I always told her she has an uncanny ability to she collects people. And so I met Joni back in 2019, and we've been in, touch ever since. But she came to me in August and she said, Brooke, we need to do something for first responders. They literally have nothing. And knowing what my background is in the mental health field, she's like, figure out how we can help them. We just got to figure out something. So her and I have been collaborating really since August, and in January of this year, we started promoting. And in February of this year, we officially launched our telehealth program for first responders and correction officers, which is really exciting. So essentially what that means is that I recruit fully licensed therapists like myself to volunteer their time, which means first responders or corrections officers are literally paying nothing. We're not charging insurance, none of it. Completely pro bono, online therapy that's trauma informed, because obviously that comes with the nature of the work. And it's just a really needed thing, and that's how we're trying to give back and provide, fill the gap. I call it the gap because there's a gap, of the need and then the therapists out there. So we're trying to bridge that gap by doing this. And another thing we started is doing classes as well, like virtual wellness classes. We're actually kicking those off next week. Those are open to the public on various mental health topics or wellness topics, but then we're doing some exclusively for only first responders that don't cost anything, because we want to reach as many people as we can. Maybe someone can't commit to therapy ongoing, but they can drop in for a class or two,
right.
That's virtual. So we're excited for that.
Now, is talking about your virtual classes and stuff, is it specifically, New York area, or is it like, somebody in Montana can be like, hey, can I join your virtual class?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's open. That's the neat thing about the classes versus the therapy, because with therapy, as a licensed professional, we have a set of rules we got to follow, which is good, right? We have entities we have to answer to. So right now, we're only New York based, but for the therapy, but the classes can be literally anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a class. So that's pretty accessible, which is awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I know Joni and I had talked about the process of getting into like the dog training, and the service dog type program. Kind of walk me through the process of getting into both programs. So like the telehealth program, and like if you needed a assistance dog or a service dog, how would you go about that as well? Starting the process, I guess.
Brooke, why don't you start with how people get involved with the telehealth program, because once I get started talking, I'm just gonna keep rambling. So you go first.
It's my job to cut you off. Don't worry, I will.
Okay.
We're watching for the hand signals. So it's very easy. You just go to Operation at Ease website, and there's a drop down for first responders, and you literally click request telehealth. It's right there. There's a little form that you fill out, and I am the person who reaches out to you. It's just me. One of the things Joni was very adamant about is that this has to be completely confidential. No one other than me at Operation at Ease's organization knows. Like, for example, right, Jess could have someone in a class, and she'd have, and that person, that first responder, like, she would have no idea that that first responder is in her class and getting telehealth through us because it's confidential. So I am the clinical director. I'm the person who gets the notification that someone filled out the form on the website. I contact you within 24 to 48 hours just to say, hey, I got your request. I just want to, I do a very brief screening just to make sure we're like the right fit for the person. It's open to everyone as a first responder. And right now we're in Schenectady County, but we're looking to expand, and we will expand, but I need more therapists. I'm actively recruiting
Of any therapists that would be
Yes,
interested, send them Brooke's way.
I was going to say,
Yes.
I honestly don't know any therapists. We did just get a recent MD, but I don't know what kind of MD they are.
Okay.
So you might have a shot there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think,
sure.
Like I said, I think there's a giant need. Like you said, there's that gap, right? There's a need that needs to be filled. And, there's so many providers. I couldn't tell you how many times I've been in conversations with people, and they're just like, I don't know where to go. I went to management, and they're like, we got nothing for you, kid.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, I think there's some concern for people too about, if I bring this up to my superior, are they going to look down on me? So I love that program is confidential,
right.
because if you're not comfortable having that conversation, that doesn't mean you don't need to have some sort of support. So that's the awesome thing about it being so confidential.
Yeah. So, while you guys are talking here, I'm going to bring up something because you might have heard it before, you might not have. But we did one episode where we were talking about some statistics and stuff. And I actually found a bunch of statistical data for reporting, like, first responders and survey data for reporting, mental health type stuff.
Sure.
And the numbers are honestly like staggering. Once you hear them, it's like, yeah, I could totally believe that, but it's all really, really bad, you know? So I'll let Jess, I'm going to look here on my computer and
Okay.
I'll let you fill the dead air while I'm looking for these stats.
Okay. So we, when it comes to dog training, we have actually two different programs for our first responders. So we do have our service dog training program. Again, that's like I was talking about earlier. That is for individuals who find that a dog would be medically necessary for them or medically beneficial. And that is usually recommended by a counselor or by your physician. So like Brooke was saying, you can go onto our website to enroll in that under the first responders tab on the website. But we also offer free first responder drop-in classes. So if you don't need a service dog, but you just want to come unwind with your dog, this is the class for you. So it's completely free. The dates are on our website, and we do ask that you sign up ahead of time so that I don't go in and have like 30 people in a room. But it's totally free. So that is just a come in, learn about dog training, have a good time, unwind with your dog, with people who know what you're going through.
That's actually pretty cool. Like, I did training with my dog, and it was, basic obedience training, long time trainer, whatever. And, I think, just being able, dog training's not something that you do once and then you forget about it. And I think a lot of people are like, yeah, my dog's trained. They know how to sit and they listen when I bark. And that's it, but it's kind of a continuing process. And I think it's really cool that, like, just as a de-stress mechanism, it
Yeah.
Because
that
we all know, or maybe you don't know, but animals are amazing. And animal therapy is so real and so true. And, you maybe get home from a terrible day, and then your pet comes up and jumps in your lap, or lifts your hand with their nose, and suddenly you're petting them and you can just feel yourself calming down. So that's what we want to help you connect with your pet in that way that maybe you don't realize that you need,
Mhm.
or you don't realize that you're having that connection with your pet. So the drop-in classes are really just designed to be something different for you, and to be something fun. One that we had previously, we brought out some agility equipment, did some fun stuff there. They needed to work on coming when called, getting their dog to come consistently. So we added that in. So basically, you just come, and if you don't know what you want to work on, don't worry about it. I'll give you stuff. And it's a really great time. We have 2 more coming up this month, and then 4 next month. So they are totally free for any first responder, and that includes corrections officers. Um, Definitely check them out and come keep us busy.
Yeah, right. If I could get my dog to like other people and other
Mm.
dogs, I would totally be for this. But I would feel like he'd be gonna like eat somebody.
Well, we
Um,
do offer private lessons as well. Maybe
as
that would be
I
more of
mean,
the route that you need to go.
he's so fantastic. Like, he's a Vizsla Shepherd mix,
Oh, awesome.
and
That's some high energy.
he's very high energy. And his, how like every dog has it's almost like the kids, they have their awake time where it's like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm awake at this time. And
Mhm.
your 1 month old might be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, but that is their awake time. He's got
Mhm.
the same one, and it's like 9:30 at night. So as
Oh
soon
god.
as you're like, he could be like docile is fine, and then 9 o'clock
Let's
rolls around and he's
go.
like, play with me, let's go. Like,
Mhm.
and then you sit there and play with him, and it's hilarious because he wants to play fetch in the house and stuff. So you throw something, and then he just walks to it. He doesn't even like run to it. Like, he's just like, yeah, I know it's late. I'm fine. I'm gonna walk to this and then bring it back. Like,
Funny.
he's just really funny like that. But all of a sudden, like, he never really liked other people. He
Mhm.
always had an issue with like tall men. Hackles up. He hates them. Um, but uh, but as he's getting older, now I think he's 5-ish. He's
Okay.
now not liking more and more people. So
Oh,
like, no one can come near him if he doesn't.
I thought you were
If he
gonna say
doesn't.
you went the other way, like,
No,
oh, he's
no,
cool
no,
now.
no. He's getting more like, old guy grouch, get off my lawn guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's like that guy now.
Mhm.
Um, so
Oh,
yeah, maybe he'll have to
you bring him in for some lessons. We'll ship him up.
shape him up. Be like, just like other people, because I mean, my
But
wife.
does every human like everyone?
Well, and that's exact. So that's the funny thing, like, because you guys, I'm sure, know it more than anybody else. But how many strangers just walk up to dogs and be like, "They're fine. Dogs love everybody."
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, like, nope, don't come up to my dog. And, like at the vet, they'll be like, oh, is your dog friendly? I'm like, no, he'll eat you. Like, and that's literally, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, respect my space. But yeah, and we
Yep.
don't want him to be nice to everybody. Like,
Yeah.
if my wife and the boys are out walking, we want him to be protective,
Right.
not
Well,
just
I
be like,
always tell people,
love
like,
everybody.
a well-trained dog will always protect you. A good, well-trained dog. So it's, and that's, we go over that in our public group classes, as well as we offer a lot of services at Operation Ease. Check
Seriously,
out our website
you
if you
guys
haven't,
are,
because not only do we do first responder and veteran classes, but we do group public classes and private classes.
yeah.
We just really want to help the community in any way that we can, and that's We were talking about this earlier. That's what makes our organization so great is we have so many of us that have our specialties and we're awesome, each awesome at what we do separately. So coming together, it's like Captain Planet. Like Joni is our Captain Planet and we all have like our
so happy that you just said that reference.
You're welcome.
Like that is straight out of my childhood right there. Now I'm
Yep,
gonna have
it's
that
so
damn
true.
theme song stuck in my head.
We're the Planeteer, and you can be one too.
So just for reference, you guys have mentioned the website a lot. It is operationatease.org.
Yes.
You can also find it through the Medic Materials website. I was talking to you guys earlier because we love what you guys do so much that I've attached a page solely on Operation at Ease. There's a link straight from there. So if you need, if you're on, whatever, go to medicmaterials.com. You can find Operation at Ease stuff there as well. Do you guys have any fundraisers that you're aware of coming up other than like your bike ride later on in the year?
Oh, I'm so glad that you've asked that.
Yes.
Yeah, so our bike ride is the big one.
Right.
That's, you know, our annual motorcycle ride is August 12th.
My bike has been down the last 2 years. So I've
Well,
yet
good
to be able
news.
to go.
We've also been expanding to classic cars. We have a Corvette club that joined us last year, and they're going to be joining us. We have possibly some Jeeps joining us. So even if you don't have a motorcycle, you can bring your classic car. If you don't have a classic car, still come.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So is there anything before the big ride in August?
Well, keep an eye on our event page because there's lots of events that other organizations host for us, and we're so appreciative of that. Lucy's Bar in Saratoga. I don't know if you've heard about this, but on Tuesday nights, they actually donate all of their proceeds to Operation at Ease.
That's pretty
So
dope.
we're a huge fan of them.
So all of our newfound friends that Kelsey told me about in Indian Lake should be traveling a little bit south to go to
Absolutely.
Saratoga, is from what I'm hearing. Because Saratoga for me is like a 3.5-hour drive, so that's not going to happen. But
Oh, that's right. I forget.
it was a nice, leisurely hour drive from where I used to live. But things change and it happens. But so let's see. You got a lot of hellos, a lot of. I'm reading the chat through here. I've been,
Oh, awesome.
messaging people. There's a lot of they wish they had these in your area. One says, my cat used to help me so much. Animals just really know. That is 100% true.
Absolutely. And there's been times even in our training where whether we're out with a service dog team and a dog will go up to somebody else and try and task for them because they can just sense that that person, whatever it is, needs that connection. Or, there's been times maybe myself with anxiety and working with a dog and then suddenly they come over and I just feel myself come down. So the animal therapy is just such a true thing.
Yeah. And Brooke, have you seen on the medical side of things, looking at it from that perspective, other than the animal therapy aspect of helping these individuals, have you seen anything? I know, different people react to different methodologies and such, but have you seen anything that you can say, oh, hey, 20% or 30% of this seems to work for these types of people?
Yeah, I mean, so each population's going to have different experiences, right? But that's when I got this off the ground with the telehealth program. I told Joni, I said, any therapist I recruit to help serve a first responder or corrections officer in the therapy aspect has to be trauma informed, or at least willing to become trauma informed, because that is just critical. So with that, I can say all the therapists we have are trauma informed, because the relationship is the most important part, the rapport you have with your therapist, if you're vibing or connecting or not. And if you feel safe enough in that space to be able to do that work on your own timeline, which is really, really important.
Right.
With trauma work, a lot of it is calming your nervous system, because trauma hijacks your nervous system. And so trauma-informed care, trauma-informed therapists, they're going to really focus on teaching you ways to recognize what your body's telling you, because sometimes we like to ignore those messages until our bodies force us to listen, which is never a good thing.
Well, and especially in the first responder realm,
Yeah.
oh, we're too cool to be feeling like this, or,
Right.
so they just say, yeah, that's not me. It's fine. I'm
Yeah.
fine. And they're not fine.
Exactly. Well, you have to compartmentalize though, right? And go on the next call and just keep going. You don't.
And there's so many things that we bring up on this show that should be changed. The way the way our business is structured is literally dooming us. With the increase in the cortisol and the stress hormones that we are under all the time, whether we do a call or not, you're sitting waiting for one. That's stressful. I don't know when it's going to come, and we've talked in length about the differences in how our brain changes and how our attitudes change and how the inability to learn, affects our job and our home life. And it's, there's a lot of things that first responders, correction officers, nurses, doctors, they all go through physiological changes that nobody ever talks about. And they're just like, and especially in our industry, there's no protections that says, okay, you just had a really terrible event. Go home. We don't want to see you in a week, or we don't want to see you in a month. That doesn't happen. They do the worst call that they've ever seen in their entire lives. They get back in their truck and they go do another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that shouldn't be the case, So I don't know how we lobby to get the things changed, but it's got to start somewhere.
Absolutely. I think, having the conversations, and that's a big thing that we're trying to do with, like our motorcycle ride is trying to cut the D out of post-traumatic stress disorder and decrease the stigma of mental health, and have those conversations and say that, it's okay to need help, and that I need help. Which I didn't get to talk about is we're also doing a therapy dog program. And our goal with the therapy dog program is to be able to bring dogs specifically to our first responder community. So say, say somebody just experienced a really terrible call, and, it's in fact, everyone was affected by it. So we can bring therapy dogs to you guys, maybe that entire week or 2 weeks or however long you want those therapy dogs coming in. Even if they're there for you while you guys are debriefing about the situation, just having that service. It's another way that we can help OAE can help you guys. So that's another area that we have as well, our therapy dog program.
That's honestly fantastic. Our Jess and I's first dog, he was a Dutch Shepherd, and he could not be left at home. He literally would destroy everything with the amount of separation anxiety he had. And
I had one of those, but it was a coonhound.
This guy came from Puerto Rico. He was a rescue from Puerto Rico. They imported him to Middletown. And then we picked him up from the shelter there, and he was phenomenal. Like, lay in bed with you, amazing dog, just could not leave him by himself for a minute. He ended up once we ended up having to surrender him. He got so bad, and we couldn't train him. And we brought in a couple trainers, and they were like, "Yeah, we can't figure it out," And there was a trainer that came up to see him when we gave him to one of our friends runs a small shelter,
Mhm.
and she found this trainer out of New York City that was a Dutch Shepherd trainer. And
Oh,
she's like,
wow.
I'll take him. And she took him, gave him to her father. And then he then became a service dog and would visit prisons and hospitals and all sorts of things. Because again, they were finding ways that he could be tethered to somebody
Yeah.
24/7.
Right.
And he's
Yeah,
doing
he's looking
phenomenal.
for that job.
He's doing absolutely phenomenal. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
it
That's such a
is-
happy story.
it
Happy
is.
ending.
It is such a happy ending from where it started. Like, it
Yeah.
was miserable having to, let him go. But yeah, it is amazing what a service animal can do. Even, like, I'll be the first to admit, I've poked fun at a lot of people for, like, the emotional support animals.
Okay.
But at the same point, I see why they're so great,
Exactly.
So,
So
I think,
the difference is with all of them. So service dog is specifically trained for one person to perform some sort of task for them. Then you've got the therapy dogs, and those are trained for other people.
Mhm.
So, they could help Brooke and could help you and could help me. Versus that service dog is really just helps the person that is their handler. And then you have the emotional support animals that provide some sort of emotional support, but they are usually not trained in the way that the other animals are. In New York State, at least, you do not have to show any sort of papers or like registration for a service dog. So just to clarify that for some of our out of town listeners,
yeah.
out of state listeners.
So we got a couple comments you guys might be intrigued in. That's how the fire service also, they were talking about, with the stigma about reaching out and stuff. They tell you it's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to say you're not okay, but as soon as you reach out for help, it's thank you for your service. Now there's the door. And I did end up finding those statistics, which we'll talk about here in a second. Barry G says, so happy for your courage to bring this topic out in the open. Let's go with PTSI for injury and end this stigma. Much love to you guys and gals for doing this tonight. One of the things, I don't know if you guys have ever talked to him, but if you haven't, you absolutely have to get in touch with him. He would be all over this. Is Daniel Sundal, also known as Dan's son. He's a EMS artist from Canada. He's a paramedic fireman. And he does conferences and podcasts and stories all over the world. And Gerard and I had him on a previous podcast that we had years ago. And he talked about his experience with PTS. And he said he brought it up as you break your arm, everyone goes, okay, you just broke your arm, right? And he goes, PTS is just you break your mind. That's it. And you have to figure out a way to just repair and mend your brain instead of repair and mend your arm. And that way of looking at it always stuck with me since we had that conversation. And I think that's the way that we all need to look at it. Joni was the first one that said exactly what you said, Jess. Let's get the D out of PTSD. In my EMT classes, when I'm talking to, any provider, I have yet 3 years later to call it PTSD again, because it resonated in like, yeah, why don't we do that? Let's get rid of it.
Yep.
I like injury as well because it's that thought process of breaking your mind. Barry adds on Code Green campaign. I love them too. Has the PTSI urging to stop using the D.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that might be a way to go. You
Mhm.
know, now how I mean, I try and promote you guys as best I can. We're still a fairly local show. We have a lot of United States reach, but our impact is really localized here in New York State. Um, how do you guys, try and get the word out to EMS agencies and fire departments and stuff that could utilize your guys' services?
Well, as you and the viewers kind of alluded to, it's tough for us to get into the the first responder community. So sharing that we exist and that we have these services, trying out the services would be
Mhm.
awesome. But even staying tuned to our Facebook page because we offer so many different opportunities. Um, Maybe you're not ready to come in person, but you can come to one of Brooke's virtual classes. So, um, really checking out our Facebook page. That is where we have all of our upcoming activities and all of the new stuff.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I will always link in the show notes wherever you guys are listening or watching, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, or any of the podcast networks that we will be on tomorrow. Operation Addie's links will be all in the description, so you guys can go check that out. Again, I always try and share you guys as best I can. I try and attach ourselves to your guys' fundraisers and stuff best
Thank
I
you.
can.
Yes,
And
thank you.
at one point you guys were doing a dog wash at one point. This
Yeah.
was a few years ago,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say it was a couple of years ago. I think maybe even pre-COVID or
I honestly
yeah,
I don't remember,
that was
but
like a COVID was a blip,
yeah,
the
Kind of
right. It
years.
weird.
was
Yeah.
gone. And we were just starting to get big around here, and we were gonna try and be like the radio people that show up and be like, hey, come meet us at the
Yeah.
the Dogtown Car Wash or whatever it
Yeah.
was. And yeah, so like we always
Right.
try and do something to to help you guys out. But
Yeah.
so in ending here, because we're gonna start wrapping up here in a second, but just going over those statistics that I was talking about.
Mhm.
So 7 to 8%, and you guys can correct me if you think these numbers are kind of skewed, but this is what I found. 7 to 8% of the American population as a whole will experience PTS at some point in their lives. That's roughly around 23.1 million people. Um, Researchers who surveyed 34,340 EMS providers found 6% uh, of that 34,000 are exhibiting signs of mild to extreme depression, anxiety, or stress. 30% of paramedics, depending on which study you've read, I found about 8 or 10 different ones, have developed PTS in some form or fashion. Um, and I think we did an episode where we were looking at that 7 to 8%, and ours is like 22%, which is
Mhm.
ridiculous. Um, and then let's see, 55. So this was a survey that they brought back. I honestly didn't write it in the notes here, but it said 55% said that supervisors would treat them differently if they did come out and say, "Hey, yeah, I do have some form of mental health injury." Um, and let's see, 45% said coworkers would treat them differently or call them weak. And then 34% would believe they would not get any further promotional opportunities within their agency.
Mhm.
So it is, it is something that is a crisis within the field as a whole. It's like you're looking at these numbers, almost a third to half of all
Mm.
providers won't speak up, won't do it for different fears. It's,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't even want to be in your guys' positions trying to figure out how to break down that barrier.
Mm.
You know, it's
Well, like
sad.
you said, I think it just takes all of us working together, bringing attention to these things, And little by little, we're breaking down those barriers, changing things.
And I think, it's a long road.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's just the way it's going to have to be, is using platforms like this to try and get that word out, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
Do you guys want to plug anything else? I asked for questions. I don't see any huge questions coming out
Well, I
from
sure
the
do.
chat
But
here.
Brooke, do you have anything else you want to say?
I'll just add on to what I was saying earlier. Again, the therapists we recruit are trauma informed, but like I was saying earlier, it's on your time. So I just want to make sure I'm clear when I say that we have therapy for first responders and corrections officers, but you don't have to only talk about the trauma. Like you can come in and talk about, anything else that might be going on in your life. You don't have to, I just want to make sure people know that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's exclusive to one or the other either. I think the trauma follows you home and, messes with your home life, or, it goes both ways too, you
Yeah.
know.
I
Go
love
ahead,
that you
Jess.
said that, Brooke. Um, so I just wanted to go back to the viewers who were saying, that these programs sound awesome. We just recently did a partnership with Niskuna Fire District 2, where we had service dog teams come to the fire department, and we worked with the firefighters on how to approach service dogs, what to do in a situation where there is a service dog, and we worked with our service dog teams on how to acclimate a dog to first responders. So we are open to going to other facilities. So if there's anyone listening that would like to have some service dogs come and work with your team, or your team work with dogs, whether it's the service dogs or therapy dogs, we're definitely open to that as well. You can contact me, Jessica at operationatease.org, or Joni at operationatease.org for either of those programs. We would love to work more with you in that way. And sometimes just getting in there can help the whole team with maybe things that you didn't realize you needed some work on, and it helps our teams as well.
Yeah, I think as I'm sitting here mulling all of this over in my mind, I'm thinking maybe I should reach out, to you guys one day in coming up with like a education thing, like a CME or something, some kind of continuing ed that you guys, do online or do in person, that, because again, this is not, this platform is all about EMS education.
Yep.
And, if we could develop in partnership a CME that you guys could come and talk to firemen and EMTs and paramedics and stuff, that's huge in the ability to get that word out, you
Yep.
know? So maybe I'll reach out to Joni and poke the bear and plant the seed and
Absolutely.
be like, let's work on this over the next coming months and,
Absolutely. Because
see
one
if we can do
thing that
that.
came up during our during that training at the fire department is somebody said, well, what do I do if I arrive to a situation and the handler's unconscious and the service dog is there? Do I separate the service dog? Do they stay with the person even though they're unconscious? Like, what do we
Yes.
do? So I think that'd be great.
Yeah, and realistically, the only training that we get from our books and stuff like that, you're always told, and even me as an instructor for EMTs tell my students all the time, if they have any type of service dog, that dog goes in the ambulance as long as the dog's okay being in there. Like, they get transported just along with your patient. Unless, the patient's unresponsive or something like that, and there's someone there to take the dog. That would be the only time that you separate them.
Yep.
But yeah, I think all of that different kinds of education and just the awareness aspect of it, there's that gap. Let's try and fill it, So I highly appreciate you guys, coming on and talking with me. There's a couple things here. Let's see. Barry G agrees with, hitting the nail on the head. There's always the talk of, oh yeah, if you're hurt and reach out, then when one does, it comes back to haunt them and worsens their stress injury and hammers self-esteem. They also say they will spread the word with you guys. Your guys' mission is awesome. I want a service mini horse, and I will bring it in the supermarket. I like that. And then outstanding on-site training for awareness, absolutely fabulous, ! !3. So yeah, I guess you guys are on the right, boom.
Awesome.
All right.
Let's see. Op at ease, proving that angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they have wagging tails. You are a godsend. So we will definitely end with a high note on that one. Thank you, girls, for joining me. I totally appreciate it. Tell Joni I say hi. Thank you. I'll message her as well. Guys, I am gonna have the live show after this. It's just gonna be myself, so we'll see how long it goes. If you guys want to stay, you're more than welcome, but don't let me twist your arm. But till next thing, I'll hit my buzzer for the first time today because I can't speak at the end. Thank you all for joining us. Till next time, guys, stay safe and donuts.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you want more information on the podcast or to send us a call review, please visit medicmaterials.com/podcast. To learn more about earning continuing education credit from listening to this episode or others, check out Medic Materials CMEacademy.thinkific.com. We appreciate your continued dedication towards EMS education and helping us advance the field. See you next time.
Well, guys, isn't this awkward? Just me. Me and you guys hanging out for a little bit. Like I said on the podcast, I am all by myself for the first time in 4 seasons since 2020 of doing this show. I don't even have Kelly with me. You guys that follow the podcast will know who the hell Kelly is. I didn't even invite my clinical director, Kelly, to the show tonight. But yeah, so I'm figuring because there's not a lot to talk about, that we would jump right into trivia. The girls jumped off. I did invite them to stay for trivia since it was all dog related. But I will be more than happy to run through trivia with you guys. 10 questions, see how you guys do here in the chat. Now I got nobody to talk to, so you guys better be filling the chat with right or wrong answers. It is what it is. But like I said, we're here to hang out. End of Tour Live is our fun, our fun stream for the week. We do this every other week. There's a lot of you guys that are just getting acclimated and used to and maybe seen us for the first time. But End of Tour was kind of developed solely to have fun. It started at the beginning. We were doing this like every single week, and then that got a little bit too complicated to keep going. So now we're doing it every other Friday. So when is the next Friday? So June 2nd will be our next stream. We'll have the podcast and we'll have End of Tour Live. Like I said, typically I know, Chris, where is everybody? So, okay, so without divulging a lot of information, Gerard had a family emergency. Phil had a family emergency. Emily got stuck mandated at work. Kelsey is stuck at work doing calls. And the Mahabuchi is doing a family fun activity with his family. So you stuck with me. All right? You're stuck with me at least for the next couple minutes, because I'm not going to sit here and bore you guys with just me talking for the next, 38 minutes. That's just not going to happen. So let's dive right into trivia. All right. And we'll get this, let's see. Trivia questions. First thing I had to do is hit my intensified music. Then I have to bring up my questions. Slide them over here. All right, so originally I thought there was going to be a bunch of us on here and that we could have a, fun dialogue about puppies and not Jerry Lawler puppies, even though that would be excitingly fun. I'm talking about puppies, dogs. All right. So let's get started. All right. I agree, Chris. Dang, it does suck. It's kind of one of those, like, we've planned this night for a month. This was a month planned, and all of a sudden, in the last 24 hours, it all went to hell in a handbasket. But we shall persevere and survive, just like they did Independence Day. All right, so let's start. You guys throw your answers in the chat, and let's see how many we can get. Some of these are pretty easy. Some of these, I was really hoping that the girl, ladies the dog ladies would get. All right, so number 1. Not seen as hunters, what German dog breed was originally developed to hunt burrowing animals? This breed's name, in fact, means badger hound in German. Puppies! I know, JR, it's Puppies! I know Chris will get that. Oh, Blue Lion with a really... Oh, man, you guys are good. I like it. Blue Lion and WW2 Girl throw in Dashin.
Correct!
It is 100% the Weenie Dog. I couldn't, like, when I saw that, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, the little Weenie Dog was originally a hunter dog. That's too funny. All right. If you've been to New York City, you might have seen this. A statue of this Iditarod-inspiring antidote schlepping sled dog can be seen in the Central Park, New York City. You just so happen to watch the late 90s movie, you'd also know the answer to this one. The second one wasn't as good, but the first one was gold. Absolute gold. People are thinking in the chat. Man, there's crickets. I'm hearing crickets. No, this is like Gerard. No one watched this Disney movie? They're all Googling it. They're going... Dunno, Husky? Alright. It is Balto. Balto. There's a, like I said, the absolutely fantastic Call to the Wild. I love that, Call to the Wild. That, you know, that movie was actually pretty interesting with Harrison Ford. Now, I love Harrison Ford, but Call to the Wild was actually a pretty good one. But if you can, Google Balto Disney movie. Absolutely fantastic. Totally worth your time. Carry on. All right, let's talk a little bit about history and where words come from. This famous 19th century U.S. president is credited with making his dog's name Fido go mainstream. Which president made Fido go mainstream? So one of the things that you guys should know on the chat, because you're the ones that can see it. Chris, Blue Lion, say FDR. FDR is a little late. 19th century. I'm looking 1800s. Super famous president. One of the things I do for the people that are watching is if you look, I know they're quick, but if you look at the backgrounds of the questions, I always try and give you the hints. Sometimes I'll give you the straight out answers. You just have to figure it out. People on the stream don't know that though. WW2 Girls going with Lincoln. I'm going to say that is
correct.
100% correct. Apparently Fido in like Greek or Latin means faithful. Something like that. So that's pretty cool. But apparently they found records when I was looking this up. Fido goes all the way back to the Greeks. But Lincoln was the one that, brought it mainstream where everyone had to have a dog named Fido. All right, what number was that? Let's see. That was 3, so we're on to 4. All right, hopefully you guys know Canada. A Canadian province is the namesake for a breed of dog that was once commonly used as a rescue animal for saving drowning sailors. What is the breed? Let's see, we got, I'm trying to think. There's British Columbia. There's Ottawa's the capital. There's British Columbia. What the fuck are they? I don't even know. I'm showing how stupid I am. I know it's not British Columbia. And my chair is sinking. We got St. Bernard. We got St. Bernard. We got Newfoundland. Newfoundland sounds like a province in my book, and Newfoundland is 100% correct. Those dogs are gorgeous. The St. Bernards are pretty gorgeous too. They're big dogs. Really freaking big dogs. All right, number 5. This one everybody should know. What breed of dog is Snoopy from the Peanuts comic strip? When I first learned this years and years ago, I'll tell you, it blew my mind. I didn't know he was a breed of dog. I just thought he was this like white and black dog. Apparently I was wrong. You guys are really good in Googling it tonight. WW2 girl, a Schnauzer. Doesn't a Schnauzer have like, I don't know, hair on it? I mean, all dogs have hair on their face. Yes, stupid Turk, but don't they have like the beard and mustache and like weird, hair? I don't know. 2 of you guys say beagle. Chris, WW2 girl, you guys are both 100% correct. It was a beagle. That big old long snout. This one's giving the dog a bone, guys. The Boston Terrier is the official dog of what U.S. state? Boston Terrier is the official dog of what U.S. state? Chris and Blue Lion both go with Mass. I'm going with Mass. Massachusetts is correct. How fitting is that one? This one actually, I didn't know. This was a fact that I found while, Googling all these questions. And I'll tell you, this one was actually pretty cool. Let's see, I think we're on what number are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7! What is the average body temperature for a dog? No, it is not 98.6. I'll tell you that much because I was wrong the first time. These would have been so good to play with the Operation at Ease girls. I'm going to say it's over a fever. Let's put it that way. Chris says 80. Way more than 80. Blue Lions, way closer with 100.5. I used to listen to a radio station, Classic Rock 101.5. 101.5 is the average body temperature for a canine. Apparently it ranges between 101 and like 102.4. Didn't know that until I was looking these up. All right, all my 90s movie kids, be with me on this one. Do not let me down. Do not let me down on this one. This dog breed was partially made famous by its portrayal in the movie Beethoven. Blue Lion and Chris, you better get this one right. There you go, guys. Chris, Blue Lion, going with St. Bernard again.
Correct!
This time it is correct, 100%. WW2 Girl follows it in with St. Bernard, absolutely. One of my favorite movies of all time. Jesse, welcome to the stream. How are you? You are absolutely correct in St. Bernard right there. All right, I'm going to give you a hint to this one. Okay? This one I didn't know. If you guys were listening to the stream earlier on the podcast, I said I own one of these. Number 9. This This dog breed, known as the Velcro dog, has a desire to be close to its owner, but also has a distinct golden rust coat and always floppy ears. Turek might just own one. Everyone's like, oh, what did Turek say? I did say Dutch Shepherd. It is not the Dutch Shepherd, though. Nope, definitely not a lab. I would never own a lab. That's okay, Jesse. You didn't know that. Emily owns a lab, though. She owns a golden retriever and a lab. I think she owns both. She wanted to be very generic. Nope, I said I owned a Vizsla Shepherd. It is a Vizsla. Vizslas are amazing dogs. They really are. I would get a Vizsla from now until the day that I die. They are absolutely phenomenal. But one thing, and this was the funny thing until I learned this, I never realized this, but Vizslas are called the Velcro dog solely because they want to be right up close to their owner all the time. And that is totally my dog. Even though he's mixed with a Shepherd, he still has that boom right there with you all the time. It's really cool. All right, last one. Gotta praise the queen on this one. This breed of dog has called Buckingham Palace home since Queen Elizabeth took the throne in 1952. Granted, yes, I know she's dead now, but her dogs are still there. Does anybody know the Queen's dogs? Oh, you guys are on point tonight. WW2 Girl says Corgi. Chris says Corgi. Jesse says Corgi. You guys are all 100% correct in Corgis, which honestly, I'll tell you, I think are some of the ugliest dogs in the world. Like, I'm not a big fan of Corgis. I don't know why, but yeah. Corgi got a big head. Totally. And like, they're like a furrier Dachshund. Just like, yeah, with a big head. My aunt bred these and I hated them. Agreed, they're just fugly. They're like the Chad of dogs. Like, I don't know. They're not my style. I like more of the, like, you know, medium range 40 to 55 pound type dogs, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not an ankle biter dog. I did find out that in doing this research for these questions, that Chihuahuas live the longest out of all the dog breeds, which I could totally see that since I had an aunt, sort of. She was dating my uncle for years and years and years. So we all just called her aunt, but she brought in a Chihuahua to the relationship, and that thing lived until it was like 19. That thing probably had to be like 200 years old in like human years. It was crazy. Yeah. So that thing lived forever, and it was only, you know, like that big, like can of soup. Crazy. So I don't know if you guys have you know, things that you guys didn't fuck up, but I think I'm gonna, you know, hit the fireworks for you guys, and we will. Well, smaller dog breeds live. Yes, they do. They're like COVID. They just never go away and no one likes it. that is the best thing I've heard in a long, left the dog in Jabba's lounge. Yes, totally. 100%. Oh my God. Absolutely. Like, fuck yeah. That's phenomenal. I think this was the previous thing was the first episode, like, of the podcast that I didn't use a single soundbite because I didn't, like, I told the girls we're a very unprofessional show. Like, you could swear, you could do whatever, like, you know, whatever. And, but I didn't hit any of the sound bites because, yeah, they were sitting there. One of them was really funny. They were poking fun at the man cave they were sitting in before the show started, and I was like, "Yup." I was like, they were showing pop, you know, like the little pop figures and stuff, and I was like, "Yeah, I got mine too. Like my desk is littered with them also." So I didn't want to, you know, nerd out on her too much. Chris, on a side note, I met your wife last Friday. Did you now? That's pretty cool. Was it flying or was it while she was riding on the ground? Just curious. WW2 girl, I didn't fuck up in a complex trauma scenario. And I got an interview with another VFD tomorrow. Awesome. Well, good luck with that. I appreciate how you didn't fuck up a complex trauma scenario. That's absolutely awesome. Oh, the DWI drill. Yes. She was actually at that. I do recall now. She flew in for the PR. Yep, she told me all about that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, she's been working hard lately. Finishing up her ride time for a paramedic. And then still flying on the helicopter, you know, full time. So she's been a busy little bee. Hopefully, though, it ends in like 3 weeks. It's done. Like June 12th. That's it. We're back to normal. She's home 5 days a week. She flies 2 days a week. Life returns to normal. It'll be great. But yeah, other than WW2 girl, what guys did you not fuck up this week? I don't want to hear about your fuck ups. I want to hear about your successes. So I'm going to say, where I live now, it is a half an hour to everywhere. It's a half hour to like 4 different cities around me. And Chris, you get a macho man for that one. In honor of Butch, I haven't fucked up going to the hospitals. He is going to appreciate that for sure. I'm going to text him after this and be like, there you go, boom. Boom. But yeah, so like there is nothing around where I am right now. There's a small little town 10 minutes away. It's got one pizza store, it's got a bank, it's got a gas station, and it's got a Dollar General. And that's the town, right? And so there's like nothing around me. So for me to like go to the gym is pointless. Like it's absolutely completely pointless. It's a 40-minute drive. It costs money to walk in the door. And I'm like, screw this. I won't do it. I won't drive a half an hour just so I can go to the gym. So I decided to buy a punching bag, which I got on sale for like $48, which was awesome. I bought a weight bench, and I bought some, what are they called? Oh my God, fucking the battle ropes. I'm thinking like, this is what I do with them. And I threw them all in my basement. And like, we have a freaking gargantuan basement. So they took up like one corner. And I have been able to go down every single day. I put the boys on the bus. I go downstairs. I do a half-hour workout on all 3, you know, combined. I feel like $1 million. Typically, when I wasn't feeling great, like I would stay up really late, and that's just kind of my thing. I stay up really late. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning is not abnormal that I am still awake and trucking along doing work. And then I'd wake up 6:30, put the boys on the bus, go back to bed until like 9. And I have not been doing that. Like as soon as I work out, I'm like amped for the day, and I'm like, hey, I'm ready to go. And yeah, I haven't fucked up my workouts. I haven't fucked up my schedule. I'm feeling fairly good. Haven't seen a lot of results yet, but you know what? That's a diet problem. I still drink like a sailor, so that's probably my problem. You know, vodka and orange juice really go nicely down the hatch, but sit on your hips for a long period of time. But yeah, so that's what I didn't fuck up. So I want you guys, if you guys can, since I was awful and didn't put it down, I didn't set anything up because I'm a doofus. But if you guys could message me at medicmaterialsedu, all right, or info.medicmaterials@gmail.com. All right, message me your name and mailing address. I announced this morning on my Facebook and Instagram story that anybody who was going to join us for the stream tonight would get an absolute free sticker pack just for joining me on the stream. So I want to make sure that you guys get your stickers. I will send them out in the mail on Monday because my post office in this small little town is not open on Saturdays. So make sure that I get a message on Facebook or Instagram Messenger at medicmaterialsedu or by email info.medicmaterials@gmail.com. Make sure I get a message so you guys can get your free sticker pack. I got some awesome stickers, some mental health stickers, some medic material stickers. I'm in the process of designing a lot more. If you guys want any type of medic materials merch, the merch store, medicmaterials.com /merch. It is completely redone. We have all sorts of new shirts. We got all sorts of stickers on there. We got all sorts, like there was water bottles on there if they're still in stock. There is a bunch of different stuff on there, all brandy dandy new. Patreon has been blowing up. Guys, you are missing out. If you love the Medic Materials podcast, there is like 15 episodes on the Patreon that you have not listened to. And they are the best, grimiest, most wild calls that you guys will ever hear us talking about because we save them for Patreon. Plus, if you're a New York State resident, you can get a free CME every 2 months by being a Patreon. So that's also a really awesome perk. Plus access to our Discord server, Patreon page on the Discord server where only the Patreons can go. And badmouth me and how much I can't speak English and all the fun things that you guys do on it. So, guys, I'm going to wrap this up a little early. I was able to fill like a half hour. Awesome to me. Thank you, guys. Chris, I felt a lot better since I started on my CPAP machine for my sleep apnea and cut out sugar. 15 pounds lost. Kudos to you, my brother. That's absolutely fucking awesome. You know what? You get a yeah and a woo tonight for that. That's absolutely phenomenal. So thank you guys for joining me again. We will be back on June 2nd. Again, make sure you send me those if you want stickers. I mean, if you don't, I'll just keep them. It's fine. I'll give them away to somebody that wants them. But if you do, info.medicmaterials@gmail.com or direct message me, medicmaterials@medicmaterialsedu on either Facebook or Instagram. Jesse, this has been awesome. Love the podcast. I'm excited to catch more of these streams. Thanks for the great content. Jesse, thank you very much. It is absolutely awesome to see new fans all the time. And your words of encouragement have been nothing but awesome. Chris, haha, good job. Thank you very much, sir. WW2 Girl, thank you for the great show. Thank you guys for joining here every 2 weeks. You guys make all this possible and worthwhile for doing. So till next time, guys, thank you very much. Stay strong, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks.